Thanks for tuning in to this special edition of Gametime Situation. It's so special, it's spooky, in fact.
It's scary good, you could say.
That's right, I'm Brian Vale, and this is Chip Whipple, and we are back to update you on all the fall sports action here at AU.
We even have some winter sports to talk about.
Ooh, that sounds like fun.
Well, it's Halloween and all, so the Game Time Spotlight could be too frightening for all the viewers out there, so be careful.
Taiwa can be very scary. Well, Chip, we'd better get going, or should I say, ghouling.
Oh dear. We better get back before it gets dark. What time is it?
It's game time.
Who?
The AU football team has been scaring opponents all season, especially on offense. The Eagles have one of the best offenses in the GLIAC and rank in the top 10 in several offensive categories nationally. A few weeks back, it was homecoming here at AU, and the Eagles hosted Northern Michigan at Community Stadium. Northern scored the first touchdown of the game, but Ashland put together 4 straight TDs to take a 27-7 lead in the first half. Freshman Jamon JV scored from 28 yards out, and then senior John Schroeder scored on a 1-yard run. Alan Dudson caught a 10-yard TD, and JV ran in for a 14-yard score. The Wildcats never recovered, and the Eagles came away with the dominating 47-21 win. You might as well have called AU Dominique Dawes with their perfect balance. The Eagles rushed for 290 yards and threw for 290 yards. Billy Cundiff was 16-25 for 247 yards, and JV carried 20 times for 132 yards. Ashland's defense held NMU running back Mark Bourgeois to just 44 yards on the ground. The win continued AU's offensive dominance in 2007. Chip, could the Eagles take their show on the road once more?
Well, Brian, the Eagles glided up onto Michigan on the 20th to take on the Ferris State Bulldogs. Ashland arrived to the field without starting quarterback Billy Cundiff as he was out with a knee injury. Senior John Ferguson stepped in and played almost flawlessly.
That's without flaw.
That's correct. Ferguson finished the game 18 for 28 for 279 yards and 2 touchdowns. Even with Ferguson's success, the Eagles were in a bit of a dogfight, pun intended, in a back-and-forth game. Ashland held on in, I think this is your favorite term, a shootout for a 37-35 victory. Senior running back John Schroeder, a.k.a. Mr. Touchdown, scored 3 more times. He's pretty much the Mike Allstott of the Ashland football team. Senior wide receiver David Ziegelhofer caught a touchdown pass in the 4th quarter to seal the game for the Eagles. Now, Vale, did the Eagles continue their success on the road in Findlay, or did they slip up on some oil?
Well, the Eagles are usually in the air, so oil's not a concern. But the Eagle defense took center stage last weekend against Findlay, and after allowing an early field goal, the Eagles shut down the Findlay attack, not allowing another point until the 4th quarter. In the first half, safeties Justin Hood and Tom Brenner left with injuries. Those 2 guys are the leading tacklers for AU. But the secondary stood tall regardless, intercepting UF QB Jonathan Bell twice. In the first half, the Oilers reached the red zone 4 times, but they scored just once as AU stalled any attempts by the Findlay offense. The 34-10 win gave Ashland their 5th straight win. Cundiff returned to the lineup and had a solid day, hitting 16 of 25 passes for 250 yards and 3 touchdowns. He found tight end Gabe Sanders for a 7-yard score, David Ziegelhofer for a 22-yard TD, and Brandon Gilmore hauling a 50-yard reception for 6. Freshman DeJuan Harvey also had a good day, rushing 12 times for 124 yards, including an 87-yard scoring scamper to ice the game. The AU defense sacked Bell 7 times, a season high, and held him to 8 of 18 passing in the contest. Ashland is now 6-1 on the season. They host 2-6 Wayne State this weekend, and then winless Gannon comes to AU to finish the regular season. Wins in those games would likely be enough to get Ashland into the Division II playoffs for just the 3rd time in school history and the 1st time in 10 years.
At the start of the show, I was a little scared it being Halloween and all, but with this next story, I think I'm going to get back into the swing of things. Oh, don't worry, there'll be plenty of more puns to come. The Ashland tennis team has kept quite busy the past couple of weeks, starting off the weekend of the 13th, hosting the Ashland Invitational. And I'm proud to say, for the first time in the history of the school, the Eagles tennis team won the AU Invitational.
Yay!
Ashland played 2 schools in the Invitational and defeated them both. First, the Eagles defeated Northern Kentucky University 6-3, and then beat up on Ohio Wesleyan 8-1. Myra Pepino, Megan Stahl, Corrine Paisley, and Chelsea Guerin all went 2-0 in singles play to lead the Eagles. Brian, how did Ashland fare in their next trip away from home?
Against the Mercyhurst Lakers, the Lady Eagles were once again victorious. Guerin and Krista Halicki won in doubles action, and then AU took over, winning 4 of the 6 singles competitions. Pepino, Stahl, Guerin, and Morgan Sanders were all winners for Ashland. The win secured the 3rd seed in the GLIAC tournament for the Lady Eagles, who qualified for the tournament for the first time in school history. Northwood hosted the event, and it was not a treat for the Eagles, but more like a trick. Wayne State defeated Ashland with a 5-2 win. The Warriors took 2 doubles matches and won 3 singles matches quickly, making the final 2 matches irrelevant.
Well, not quite irrelevant. After the disappointing loss to Wayne State, the Eagles looked to rebound against Ferris State to try and finish in 5th place. Unfortunately, the Eagles fell just short, losing the match 5-4. Winners in the single matches for the Eagles were Pepino and Sanders, and the 2 other wins came from the doubles teams of Catherine Gowdy and Stahl and Pepino and Paisley. The loss of this match left the Eagles playing Saginaw Valley State for 7th place. Ashland at least closed the season out on a positive note, beating Saginaw 6-3. Pepino, Gowdy, Paisley, Guerin, and Sanders won their singles matches, and the team of Pepino and Paisley won their doubles match of the tournament, 3rd doubles match of the tournament, excuse me. The team had a great season and faltered a bit in their first appearance in the GLIAC tournament, but definitely a positive season for the Eagles as they went 15-3 overall and 7-2 in the league for their most successful season in school history.
Well, folks, we're going to go find some candy on this Halloween night, so we'll be back right after this on Gametime Situation.
To ensure the health of our children. Sadly, most parents don't realize that their child's first eye exam with an eye doctor should be between the age of 6 and 12 months. I urge you to take your baby to an optometrist for a comprehensive eye assessment. It can literally change your child's vision of the future.
Infancy optometrists offer a no-charge eye assessment for infants 12 months old or younger. Call today to find an optometrist near you.
You're a good driver, a careful driver, and you don't stand a chance. Not at a railroad crossing with bad sight lines and no lights or gates, where vegetation, buildings, or hills block your view, where you can't see the train and you only have seconds before it hits your safe, careful self and you die. Go to angelsontrack.org to report dangerous crossings, because careful is just no match for a 200-ton locomotive.
My name's Andy McDonald. I ride this useless wooden toy for a living. It's hard. I've been doing it for 13 years. I'm still lame. I do a trick called a 540. Took me a good 6 years to learn. There's a whole generation of skateboarders out there that are just as talented athletically as any basketball or football player. It takes somebody that's not going to be afraid to fall down a lot, because you definitely will fall down. You're not a failure until you refuse to get back up. Drugs are only going to hinder what I'm trying to do. That right there is my idea of getting high.
When will the next natural disaster hit? A public health crisis strike? Another terrorist threat emerge? How long will it take for help to arrive? Ohio Citizen Corps is committed to making every minute count by having volunteers ready. Physicians, nurses, teachers, retirees, everyone can help. You can make a difference. Join Ohio Citizen Corps. Call or go to serveohio.org. The time to prepare for trouble is before it hits.
As parents, we do whatever is necessary to ensure the health of our children. Sadly, most parents don't realize that their child's first eye exam with an eye doctor should be between the age of 6 and 12 months. I urge you to take your baby to an optometrist for a comprehensive eye assessment. It can literally change your child's vision of the future.
Infancy optometrists offer a no-charge eye assessment for infants 12 months old or younger. Call today to find an optometrist near you.
Back, and I hope Vale's scary Halloween outfit hasn't frightened the viewers too much.
I'm not the one with a racing tie on.
Oh wait, that's not your costume? That's just what you thought would look good tonight?
Yes.
My mistake.
Hilarious.
Anyway, the volleyball team continues to impress this year, rolling off victory after victory. On October 13th, the Eagles hosted Lake Superior State and promptly swept them right off the court, winning 3-0. Ashland won the first game 30-17, took the second 30-23, and wrapped up the match winning the third 30-18. Senior outside hitter Mary Kate Glow led the Eagles with a match-high 18 kills. Freshman Jeanette Blake added 9 kills. For some teams, winning one match a day would be enough, but not for these Eagles. They played Northern Michigan later that night and walked away with a 3-1 victory. 30-21, 30-20, 24-30, and 30-25. Glow once again led the Eagles with 22 kills, and senior Lindsey Warren added a match-high 59 assists. I'm going to change it up a bit this week, and I'm going to serve it over to Brian to see how the Eagles did the rest of the weekend.
And I'm going to take that and spike it. And October 14th, Michigan Tech came to Cates Gymnasium, and the Eagles quickly sent them packing as AU won 3-0. Mary Kate Glow in the dark had 16 kills and 23 digs to lead the Eagles. Lindsey Warren had 51 assists in the win, which saw scores of 30-21, 30-15, and 30-24. The next week, Ashland went to Gannon and made sure it was a pleasant trip. AU won 3-0, sweeping Gannon away with their dreaded witch's broom. Glow had 12 kills and 10 digs, while Warren had 37 assists. Santos had 9 kills and 11 digs for Ashland, as the Eagles won 30-22, 30-15, and 30-23. The Lady Eagles had more road work to do, though. How did that go, Chipper?
It went well, Brian. After quickly dismantling Gannon on Friday, they played Mercyhurst the next day and won this match just as easily 3-0, 30-21, 30-21, and 30-15. Glow, in the dark, led the team with 15 kills and 11 digs. Stefanski added 7 kills and 9 digs of her own. Ashland next traveled back home this past Friday to host in-state rival Findlay. The Oilers threw the big first punch, taking the first game of the match 31-29. The Eagles fought back, winning the next 3 to win the match 3-1. 29-31, 30-16, 30-24, and 30-21. Santos contributed 16 kills and 20 digs. Warren, not to be outdone by a sophomore, tallied up 53 assists to lead the team. The win improved the Eagles' record to 24-3 overall and 13-2 in the GLIAC. The victory extends the Eagles' winning streak to 7 games, and they will next host Wayne State on Friday at 7 before the South Division showdown against Hillsdale on Saturday. Now, Vale, we have been using our hands a lot, but how about we switch it up and start to focus a little more with our feet and talk a little soccer?
That's fine with me, Chip. The women's soccer team here at Ashland has had an up and down season, but they're peaking at the right time. And this past week, they look to advance to the first ever GLIAC tournament with a late season run. On October 12th, the Eagles went to Gannon. After a scoreless first half, AU took control, scoring twice to win 2-0 in Erie. In the 68th minute, freshman Erin Charnley scored her first collegiate goal, and then Kelly Usher converted on a penalty kick to give AU insurance.
Car insurance?
Nope, that would be goal insurance.
Okay.
Marina Saponic, a senior, had 6 saves in the match. 2 days later, Mercyhurst hosted Ashland. After scoring in the final minute of the first half, the Hearst seized momentum and scored twice midway through the second half to take a commanding 3-0 lead. 2 late goals by AU were not enough as the Lakers came away with a close 3-2 victory. Beth Moore scored in the 80th minute, and then Hannah Brown scored to make it a 1-goal match. The Eagles returned home after the trip. Chip, how did they do in the friendly confines?
Little rhyming there, I liked it. Ashland came back home to finish off their season, starting off play with Saginaw Valley State. In what can only be described as a low-scoring typical soccer match, the Eagles pulled out a 1-0 victory over the Cardinals. The only goal of the match happened early in the second half when freshman Danny Lamb beat the keeper from 10 yards out, with the assist going to Beth Moore. Ashland had no time to celebrate, though, as they hosted Northwood 2 days later. This match was anything but a typical low-scoring game. The Eagles blew out the Timberwolves, winning the contest 6-0. Here's a quick rundown of how Ashland scored their 6 goals. Erin Charnley knocked it off the left post and into the net for the first goal. Next, Northwood, I don't know why, decided to kick the ball into their own net for an own goal. Courtney Schuster scored early in the second half. Beth Moore added 2 goals of her own, and Kelly Usher beat the goalie to cap the scoring for the Eagles. The Eagles headed into their next match knowing a win or a tie would put them into the GLIAC tournament. Were they able to achieve this feat, Vale?
No, they weren't. Ashland needed a win over the Oilers to qualify for the conference tournament. It was senior day, and the 4 Eagles wanted their final home game to be a memorable one. Findlay had other plans, though. No goals were scored in the first half, which saw plenty of wind and mist and muddiness and all kinds of craziness going on. But in the second half, they had more action, and the majority of it was not good for AU. Danny Lamb did give AU a 1-0 lead early in the second half, but the Lady Oilers answered with 2 goals within 7 minutes of each other, and the Eagles could not respond. The loss, coupled with the Saginaw Valley win, meant that Ashland's season was over. Maria Saponich, Jen Witowski, Kelly Farrell, and Sam Little finished their careers at AU with a record of 7-9-1 in 2007.
Now, we're going to try to avoid the boogeyman, so we'll be back shortly here on Game Time Situation right after this.
Mr. President, my parents believe that eating meals together will make our country strong. Is this something that you did when you were a kid?
I did eat with my family so long as my mother wasn't cooking.
Not good making fun of your mother, even if you are president, but it is good to have dinner with your kids. We know the more often children have dinner with their families, the less likely they are to smoke, drink, and use drugs. So simply having dinner together can help your children forever, even if you're not a great cook.
This is a banana. This is a cat. This is fire. This is harmless and actually helpful to some people. Don't believe everything you hear. The fact is that every major health organization rejects smoked marijuana. Now that the smoke is cleared, discover truecompassion.org.
Kids, how do we take care of our teeth?
Brush your teeth twice a day. Floss your teeth once a day. If you want healthy teeth, do this every day. Brush your teeth.
Fight tooth decay.
Floss your teeth.
Don't forget regular dental checkups, okay?
Brush your teeth twice a day. Floss your teeth once a day.
E-File. Get receipt confirmation and a quicker refund. Log on or tell your tax preparer to e-file for you and join the 53 million e-filers who consider it done.
We've covered the women's side of the soccer field, but now it's time to take a look to see how the men have been faring. The Eagles made their annual trip up to Erie to take on Gannon and Mercyhurst, looking for their first win of the season 3 weeks ago. Facing Gannon first, the Eagles fell just short again, losing the match 2-1. The Golden Knights struck first, but the Eagles tied the score on Tom Mangatik's first goal of the season. Just 5 minutes later, though, Gannon would reclaim the lead and hold on to it for the 1-goal victory. Ashland faced Mercyhurst next, but were unable to come away with a win in this match either. Mercyhurst scored the only goal of the contest near the end of the first half as the Lakers won 1-0. The Eagles next headed home. Vale, did the Eagles happen to get their first win there?
The men continued their search for a win against Saginaw Valley State October 19th. The Cardinals and Eagles played to a scoreless tie at the break, but then the fireworks started. Saginaw took a 1-0 lead in the 68th minute and then scored a few minutes later to expand their lead. In the 72nd minute, however, Tom Mangatik cut the deficit to 1, but SVSU answered with another score. Zach Ilgiavoni scored in the 89th minute, but the Cardinals won 4-2, keeping AU without a win. Northwood came to town next, and Ashland still could not get a victory as the Timberwolves took a tight 3-2 decision. Max Hiltner and Torrey Korsog scored first-half goals for AU, but Northwood had 2 goals to match that, and then in the 64th minute, Art Nielsen scored to give the Wolves a lead they would not relinquish.
Now, this past Saturday, Ashland held their senior day hosting rival Findlay. It looked bad early as the Oilers took an early 3-0 lead. Ashland fought back off of 2 Albert Smith goals, but it was to no avail as Findlay pulled away at the end to win the match 5-2. Ashland next had to travel to Northwood to make up a previously postponed game in what would be their last game of the season.
Could they win?
We'll see. On Monday, the Eagles finished their season losing, unfortunately, to Northwood 3-1. Ashland's lone goal came off the foot of Kelly Desmond with the assist going to Joe Woodruff. Sadly, we have to report that the team finished their season with a record of 0-17-1. Hopefully the young players can learn from this year and come back and improve next season.
That's a good banquet to go to.
I'm kind of tired of talking about all these coordination sports. Vale, do we have any sports where we can just run without have to deal with anything like throwing, hitting, spiking, or kicking a ball?
Yes, we do, Chip. I don't know why you get to determine when we change sports, but here we are talking about the cross-country teams at the GLIAC Championships this past weekend as the teams traveled to Erie, Pennsylvania on October 20th. The women took 9th in the 13-team field, with junior Becky Yoder placing best for the Eagles in 20th place. Surprise, surprise, Grand Valley State won the event. Now, Chip, could you tell me how the men did in this race?
Well, the men also ran to Erie to participate in the GLIAC Championship on October 20th, and is the case in most sports. Can you guess who won this championship, Vale?
Wayne State.
That is incorrect. Grand Valley State won, with Wayne State coming in second, just edging out Ashland, who finished in third place. Junior Jeremy Train led the Eagles, finishing in 8th overall with a time of 26:02.83. Senior Brandon Bauer finished 17th at 26:22.16. Cameron Johnson came in 20th, and Rick Featheringale was 21st. The Eagles are currently ranked 15th in the country and are 3rd in their region. The regional championships will take place this weekend at SIU Edwardsville. So we've updated you on many of the fall sports here at AU, including the team that had one of the more successful years at Ashland so far. Now we're talking about the tennis team, of course, and they are a young group led by freshmen at the top singles spot. Myra Pepino may be the top tennis player on campus, but has she seen anything like the Game Time Spotlight with Tyler Miller?
Thanks, guys. We're joined tonight on the Game Time Spotlight with freshman tennis player Myra Pepino. Myra, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Myra, you came in this fall as a freshman, your first semester at college, and you proceeded to be the #1 tennis player on the women's tennis team, and you won GLIAC All-Freshman Honors for the Freshman of the Year. Talk about how that season went and how the transition went from going to from high school to college.
The season just went really well. I had a lot of fun. I worked really hard. I just tried to really work on my doubles, and because I had never really played doubles that much. Transition from high school to college, definitely harder. Overall, as school was harder. As far as tennis, the opponents were definitely more challenging.
What was the biggest curve, the learning curve that you had to overcome to come to the collegiate tennis scene and really play as well as you did?
My brothers played in college. I just tried to do my best and try to show everyone who I was. Try to represent Ashland the best that I could.
What's been the hardest thing for you so far? You have to take classes every day, which is a little bit different, a different scene than it was in high school, and plus you had already touched on the difficulty as far as your opponents. What's been the hardest thing for you?
Definitely the amount of work that I have to do for school, and managing my time, because there's always practice every day, 3 to 5, and then I have to study, and also, social aspect of college as well. To balance everything it was kind of difficult, but I'm sort of getting used to it now.
What about your year as the tennis season itself? You were 16-4 overall. The team was 7-2 in the GLIAC. Mm-hmm. How did that go as far as according to your expectations to start the year?
I wasn't sure how it would go, but I was really excited, and when I met the girls, we just hit it off really well. We were able to pump each other up and help each other, and we just worked really hard, and I think we deserve everything that we've achieved this season.
Now, you're only a freshman, so you have 3 more years to play here at Ashland University. What kind of goals have you set for yourself? You've already been Freshman of the Year. Mm-hmm. You're already first team All-Conference. What do you have individually for you looking forward in the next 3 years?
I really just want to play the best that I can and just to keep improving my record. I know that I've already achieved some honors that I'm still really surprised about, but there's always more out there, and I'm always looking to play better and do better and just improve overall.
Your coach, Carl Leedy, who's been a tennis coach for a long time, both at the high school level and at the collegiate level. What are your thoughts on him? How's that worked for you as a new coach for you this year?
He's a really great coach. He's been around and he knows a lot of things about tennis. He's a great guy. He's a really nice guy. He's there to help us out, coach us, but he's also there as a mentor and a friend. So he's a really great guy.
Do you think that it's helped that he used to coach in high school tennis, and now he's coaching in college? So he kind of knows how you guys are transitioning from one to the other as a young underclassman.
I think he understands us. He played for Ashland before, and he just understands tennis really well. But he also understands us as student athletes as well.
Talk about the off season now. You wrapped up the fall season. You have the spring season to look forward to now. What are you going to do to get ready for the spring?
Well, we're already working out. We have like a workout schedule. We're going to play as much as we can. We're just really going to try to get ready and improve our team. We've already had a really great start, but we just want to keep it going.
Do you have goals for the spring season coming up?
Just to win every match that we can. We're going to try to play as much tennis as we can this winter. We just want to get ahead of all the other teams and just work as hard as we can.
It's really important to do the little things in the off season.
Yeah, it's the little things that count.
All right. Well, Myra, thank you so much for joining us, and you're off the Game Time Spotlight.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more Game Time Situation right after this.
Children who eat dinner with their families are less likely to smoke, drink, or use drugs. So, have dinner together every day.
Delicious.
A message from CASA, the National Center on Addiction and Substance Abuse at Columbia University.
Every trip, every time.
California, here I come!
Buckle up so you and your friends get home safely.
I must scream into the world from the top of someplace very high.
Seatbelts save lives.
Okay.
Visit NHTSA.gov.
Low and slow. My best friend, what are you going to do?
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
That is spectacular advice.
Does peace really have a chance within our lifetime? At Rotary, we believe it does. We've created programs at universities around the world dedicated solely to teaching peace to a new generation. There's a new symbol for peace. Rotary.
You're a good driver, a careful driver, and you don't stand a chance. Not at a railroad crossing with bad sight lines and no lights or gates, where vegetation, buildings, or hills block your view, where you can't see the train and you only have seconds before it hits your safe, careful self and you die. Go to angelsontrack.org to report dangerous crossings, because careful is just no match for a 200-ton locomotive.
We're back. Last time we were here, the Lady Eagle golf team was in Myrtle Beach to compete in the Lenore-Rhine Invitational. We have those results now, and we can tell you that AU placed 6th in the 18-team field as Christine Suki tied for 11th with a score of 159. The event ended the women's season. The future looks bright for the Eagles, as they will lose just one senior off this year's squad. Now it's time to jump into the pool here on Game Time Situation, as the swim teams have gotten their seasons underway here at Ashland. The men dove into their season against Indianapolis, and the Greyhounds were not kind guests as they took a 136-95 decision. For Ashland, Sean McGraw won the 50 freestyle, Ben Monty won the 200 IM, and Jonas Jeffsell took first in the 200 breaststroke. The 400 free relay and 400 medley relay teams both won for AU. At Findlay last weekend, the men got their first win of 2007, beating the Oilers 106-84. Derek Balo won the 1000 freestyle and the 100 freestyle. Arthur Govia won the 200 IM. McGraw took first in the 200 freestyle, and Monty won the 50 free. Chewy Vogel won the 200 butterfly, and the 400 medley relay team won also. The men hit the road to PA after that, Chipper. How did it go?
Well, the swim team dove right into their next meet as they competed in a tri-meet at Edinburgh. The Eagles won both contests, defeating Edinburgh 61-34 and beating IUP 65-30. Arthur Giovi finished first in the 200 freestyle. Chewy Vogele splashed his way to a victory in the 50 freestyle and won the 500 freestyle. Not to be outdone, Derek Balo won both the 100 freestyle and the 200 individual medley. Also winning for Ashland was Sean McGraw in the 100 butterfly and Jonas Jeffsell in the 100 breaststroke. Ashland will next travel to Grand Valley this weekend. The men are off to a good start. How are the women doing Vail?
The women have also hit the pool, as Chip told us, having hosted Hillsdale and Marshall in their first meet of the season. The Eagles won against Hillsdale 182-101, but lost to Marshall 169-129. Lizzie Wormer won the 200 butterfly and 500 freestyle. Allison Morgan won the 150 freestyle races. Janice McCloskey won the 100 butterfly. The 200 freestyle and 200 medley relay teams won also for the Eagles.
It's a good thing we're getting close to the end because I'm screwing up a bunch here. The women hosted Findlay on October 26th and won the meet 106-84. Allison Morgan won the 200 IM and the 200 butterfly. Lizzie Wormer was first in the 200 breaststroke, and Aubrey Bailey led the field in the 1000 freestyle. Morgan was also part of the winning 400 free relay team. The women also swam their way across state lines, and how did that fare, Brian?
The women lost to Edinburgh and Indiana of Pennsylvania in a tri-meet last weekend, as Morgan won the 100 butterfly, Ashley Shoup won the 100 freestyle, and the 200 free relay team won. The Lady Eagles go to Grand Valley November 3rd for their next meet.
It's that time again.
Trick or treat time?
Nope. Sorry to say, it's time to tell the viewers when we'll be back.
Oh, that time?
Yep. Game Time Situation will return to the screen November 14th, so be sure to tune in.
That's right, folks. We'll be back with all your AU sports action with some teams in postseason play and others just getting started.
The Game Time Spotlight will also return as another Eagle athlete will go underneath the lights.
Sounds good. Thanks for tuning in tonight, folks.
Have a good night, everyone.